Here we go with number one. Chat GPT technology promises to revolutionize U.S. immigration. As you're quoted here in your Forbes article, it says AI technology will change the way immigration is managed. The technology will revamp the U.S. immigrant application process by providing applicants with full details of how it works and what steps they need to take to succeed. Andy, expand on this and how it's going to change immigration in 2023.
Okay. This is an amazing step. What we're talking about here, to draw an analogy, if you knew, or if you can remember the moonwalk, or if you can remember seeing Google when it was first introduced, this technological development is similar in nature. It's a Google on steroids. And I'm not a big IT, guru. I try to read and follow what's going on, but I'm not an expert in the field. But I can assure you from reading and from trying this technology that this will change our lives, not only in immigration, but in general. And just to give a few illustrations in the U.S. immigration context, this is like writing into Google a question and getting back a full essay and answer, a logically organized full essay in answer to a question you may have. So, for example, if I'm a refugee and I write, I'm a refugee, I want to go to the United States, how would I do it? This technology, Chat GPT, will answer that refugee by giving a full essay outline of all the steps, what's required, what they have to prove, that they have a well-founded fear of persecution based on not wanting to return to their home country because of race, religion, etc. The whole works. And the technology will also provide such an applicant with a write-out, if they want one, of the process, step 1, step 2, step 3, all the way through to getting refugee status in a country, as one example. Or if you're a business investor type and you want to go to the United States, let's say you need a business plan, you can write out, I need a business plan, let's say for a hotel in Georgia. And this technology will type out for you, like live, right? Just like your answer, like an answer from Google, but a whole essay answer, a full model business plan for a hotel in Georgia or wherever you want. That's one example. Or, for example, you might type in, what are the risks of investing as an EB5 investor on a regional center project? Again, the technology will provide you a full explanation of what is at stake when you invest in this kind of a investment as an immigrant investor. It's fantastic. Or you might type in, I'm looking for a job as an engineer. What kind of visas are available for engineers who want to immigrate to the United States? It'll list all the details about a great answer to that technology.
It sounds like you're pretty excited. I just want to make sure you're not picking your own pocket. So I assume people are still going to need you to do the paperwork and make sure all the ducks are in a row. But it sounds like it gets people going in the right direction.
Oh, there's no doubt you're going to need a U.S. immigration lawyer, even though it might be on a different plane. It might be a different type of relationship, because let's say I wanted to learn how to fly an airplane, a 747. I could ask this technology; it would tell me, but I would still need someone to explain it to me and help me, actually fly an airplane. The same is true with this technology, but I can't tell you. And here's another aspect of it. This is only stage 1. This coming year, 2023, the technology is going from GPT-3 to GPT-4, so that what I just described is going to be improved 500 times in the course of this year. Sometime this year, it's going to come out with this higher technology. It's well worth time to play around with this technology, to understand it and to use it And if you're interested in immigration, to try and get some answers, and of course, I'd be more than happy to talk to anybody who, using this technology, is interested in immigrating to the United States.
Excellent. Hopefully Skynet does not become self-aware. That's a
right.
The Terminator movie reference there. Obviously, you're very excited about it. I know you are. And you had an article on Forbes in it if people want to read it. And you got a lot of great comments back, too. When you had it on LinkedIn, a lot of people are really interested in this. So make sure to check it out if you're listening. Number 2, for one of your predictions we got, and this kind of surprised me because speeding up of USCIS processing time, nobody thinks of immigration and fast in the same sentence. But you're saying here that certain things are going to actually speed up the processing time for people that are trying to immigrate to the United States in 2023. Please explain.
Yeah, we came out of a pandemic and also out of a change in leadership in the US, from Trump to Biden. And things slowed down. A lot of people quit who were in the bureaucracy. They were working from home. The system was not doing well. We got these huge backlogs. And the USCIS, the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, got a new leader, a new director, and she, Jadot is her name, she implemented changes and started hiring people and trying to speed up what has been a very, very long processing time in virtually every area of immigration. But it hasn't hit yet, like her work and the work of the Department of Homeland Security to pick up on where they were after the pandemic, etc., has not yet come and been visible in processing, but it will be, and the targets they've set for themselves, 6 months for processing most applications as a target for 2023 is there's a good chance they're going to make that target in terms of cleaning up the backlog and stuff like that. There will still be backlogs such as the visa bulletin, Indian, Chinese people waiting for EB-5 visa approvals and things like that. But it won't be in the area of filing petitions with the USCIS in the various categories of petitions. That's like a consular State Department backup in the case of that example I just cited. But as far as USCIS is concerned, and I wrote an article not long ago saying that the backlog is impossible, and I don't know if it'll ever be cleared up. So, but I see they're really working on it, and there's promise there. So I put it in.
Yeah, Andy Semotiuk, the optimist. I like it. I like this Andy Semotiuk going into 2023. Number 3, however, busing migrants around the USA will continue. People have probably seen this in the headlines. Southern states, some governors fed up with what they see as uncontrolled illegal immigration or undocumented immigrants coming over the border, and they've sent them by bus to places like New England and other climes where they think politicians aren't listening to them. Go into this a little bit.
Yeah, here's another sort of political hot potato. That southern border is troubling. There are a lot of people forming, on the southern border looking for entry into the United States. The migrants, some of them are legitimate refugees, others may not be. They've been blocking the entry of these people through this Title 42, which is a COVID-related health barrier, and they've turned people away based on the health dimension, worrying about spreading COVID. But that's not going to last forever, and there's a temporary stay that the Supreme Court has just recently upheld. But things are going to change. In the meantime, people like Abbott in Texas, the governor of Texas, and in Florida, DeSantis, have been using this flow of migrants in busing people, as you mentioned, up into the northern states to apply pressure on the political leadership in Washington and in the northern states to do something about the border. The border issue is a terribly complicated, almost unsolvable problem. And busing migrants up north doesn't really help much. Yes, it applies pressure on people who are receiving these migrants, but it doesn't make for good neighbors in terms of the political relationships between the people who are sending and those who are receiving. And it's no real solution to the problem.
You've got it here that it's going to continue. Every year we do these predictions, and I wait for you to say the comprehensive, U.S. immigration reform is going to pass. You never say it because you know it's not going to happen, or at least it's not going to happen anytime soon, as far as we can tell. And this is one more part of that. Like you're saying, this will continue until that reform passes, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen. That's
right. A lot of thinking needs to be done, and policy has to be implemented. I know AILA, the American Immigration Lawyers Association, sent in a document in December, just this month, to Washington suggesting what should be done in order to get things, get control of what's going on. And it's a good document, but it's not perfect, and it's not a perfect answer. This is a challenge for all of us. And it can be a challenge even for Canada, for example, because some of these people may be coming up through the United States up to Canada. So it's going to be an ongoing thing.
Right, the Roxham Road that we've heard about into Quebec and things like that. Yeah. Okay, so number 3, busing migrants around the USA will continue. We'll keep an eye on that. We've got here number 4. This one interested me. New EB5 not that most of your stuff isn't interesting. But, new EB5 investors will be able to jump ahead of backlogs. It says here, this is a quote from your Forbes article. The early part of year 2023 will offer new EB5 investors a chance to jump ahead of backlogged EB5 investors if the new investors invest in rural, high unemployment, or infrastructure projects. That's kind of a two-pronged thing here, because that's good news for new EB5 investors and good news for the EB5 staying alive. Not so sure the backlog EB5 investors are going to want to hear this.
Well, there's some thought to the effect that if you're in the backlog and you want to get ahead, you might withdraw your backlogged case and apply under one of these categories to get ahead.
Okay.
It's a sort of a bold move, but it is something to consider. This is not going to be open forever. This is like a 6-month window opening. A whole bunch of visas available here. So it'll be exhausted reasonably soon. It was saying maybe to September, it may remain open and then it'll close because it'll be used up. It's a temporary, it's sort of like, I was looking at vacation travel, and during the Christmas break, like it's blocked up and there's, backups and all this kind of stuff. But if you go later, say like in later January, the prices drop dramatically and the door is open for a short period of time between Christmas and the springtime. Same thing here. There's a short period of time where foreign investors can jump ahead by investing and filing with one of the regional centers during this from January through, let's say, for 6 months.
Yeah, it's a good analogy with the vacation. I was looking at some sports tickets for later on this year, and I dragged my feet, and now they're gone. So investing in EB5 is probably, well, I don't know. Sports tickets are almost as much as investing in the EB5.
Yeah, you should try to EB5. Maybe it'll work for you.
Right. The word is don't drag your feet. Talk to Andy about the EB5 investor program. Number 5, we'll cap it with this one. Unfortunately, it is a negative one, or at least it's one that does make you think. It could drive you to be depressed if you thought about it too long, because the numbers are just, they're almost overwhelming. Number 5, displaced persons worldwide will top 110 million. You have it here that in 2023, the number of displaced persons in the world is expected to grow to over 110 million, according to the UNHCR, the UN Refugee Agency. You spend a lot of time, a few articles a year that you write about the plight of refugees. And I know that some of this is close to your heart with what's going on in Ukraine. Talk about this a little bit.
Don't get depressed. Actually, knowing the number and following what's going on is what will fix things up here for you. Yes, it's a big number and it can't be solved completely. I mean, nobody can, but there are a lot of problems that can't be solved completely, yet you can still address the major problem. And there's a lot that can be done to make this easier. And I have great faith in humanity. I believe there's a way to tackle this issue. If the leadership in the West, in particular the West, got together and took a run at this thing. But right at the moment, the leadership isn't doing that. And as a result, it's growing and we have these issues. Which, what's happening with this is people are trickling into our countries in the United States, Canada, Australia, or whatever it is, as quote unquote refugees, because that's the only window that you can possibly fit through. But it's also a problem because the window is not properly defined, or the leadership has not come up with an idea about how to address some of the major calamities that people are facing in the world. Escape from war, food shortages, or food supply problems, earthquakes, and all that kind of stuff. The way to get depressed is don't talk about it. Just put it under the carpet somewhere, tuck it away, and act as if it doesn't exist. That's a surefire way to get really depressed and one day get really overwhelmed by this thing.
Andy Semotiuk, always good to talk to you. That's a solid, positive note to end off on. I like that going into 2023. Those are your top 5 predictions. People can find that article in Forbes. They can also find the stuff about the AI and the EB5 information in Forbes. And give us a quick preview on what's your next article going to be.
I'm writing an article, kind of a rear view mirror of what happened this year. And I think I'm going to dive into the EB5 world a little bit after that. Those are the 2 upcoming areas. Before we go, let me just wish you and all the viewers a very happy New Year, and hopefully had a great Christmas and a great Hanukkah for those who are celebrating. All the best to everyone, and I'm very happy to have had this chance to sit down with you and talk today, Sean.
Always good to see you, Andy. Looking forward to what comes in 2023. I know we'll be talking a lot. Until then, take care of yourself. We'll talk to you soon.